Welcome back to CNN. Today's top story, that's what I feel like when I look down.
There's a really good show, that's what they're called, on Dropout, which is one of the apps that Miguel and I like to watch. And it's basically a newscasting show, but the people on the other side who are saying it don't know anything of what they're saying. So they are just reading the prompter, and anytime they laugh or smile, they get points deducted. It's hysterical.
Oh, no.
It's very funny.
If I'm talking weird, I just want to address another elephant in the room.
Oh, yeah?
Because I got tooth gems. I'll insert a picture up close. So I'm like, wash it?
No.
Nothing's happening.
My fridge is talking.
So I wanted to I think I'm naturally going like this.
To show it off?
It's to show it off, but I think because I feel it too.
Stephanie gave herself adult dentist work. She looks like she has, I don't know, a rapper alter ego.
A rapper alter ego?
Yeah, that's kind of what I
a
think.
Snickers wrapper.
A Snickers wrapper? Like the candy bar?
A candy wrapper, yeah.
Oh, a candy wrapper, sure. I mean,
maybe that's my name. It's Candy, Kandi.
Okay, rapper.
But W.
List below what you, I like it. It's a great name, Candy Wrapper.
Can't wait.
All right, so we are going to continue doing our fun, not knowing what we're talking about. So should we do intro and then figure out what we're speaking about?
Absolutely.
All right, is it me or you?
It's me.
It's you? Okay, great. Let's see if you...
Welcome to Cycle...
Nope.
No.
That's the wrong show. Chit Chats.
Welcome to Chit Chats. Welcome to Chit Chats, a totally unedited space where we break the cycle of what it means to be a woman together. Today's topic, we don't have it yet, but by the title, I'm sure you can guess what it is.
All right.
Let us see. Drum roll, please.
All right, let's see. Oh, she picked the tiniest one. Let's see what it is.
Mama trauma. Ooh, we've been dying to talk about this one.
Yeah. I have a lot of mama trauma.
I don't have mama trauma, but it's come to light some codependency issues. I wouldn't even say recently, like I've always known about it with my mom, but we'll get into that as we go through the episode. I feel like it's only appropriate if you take it away.
Okay. So, I am 30 years old. I have a lovely relationship with my mother now. And if she is watching this is absolutely nothing against our moms, right? This is our side disclaimer. Of the story. I have a lot of mama trauma because, and it kind of goes into another thing, but basically a lot of stuff happened in my life when I was 16. The family that I thought I was being raised in kind of fell apart around me. And with that, my mother became a little manic in her way of showing up, I guess, is the best way to put it without curse words.
Hyper.
Yeah, hypersensitive. She would have really low lows and really high highs. So lots of up and downs. It was a real roller coaster for a few years there. But I grew up in a family. I was never told that I couldn't date anybody. It was never part of the conversation. And then, like I said, a lot of stuff happened when I turned 16, and my mother and I had a lot of times where we didn't quite see eye to eye. I remember one time specifically, I had my first boyfriend. I had a few boyfriends before, but my first high school boyfriend, Dan Kroll, was my high school boyfriend.
That sounds like a donut.
Yeah. Oh, it does sound like a donut. Yeah. But he was a very nice boy. And I told my mother in the car on the way back from the high school that I was dating him. And she asked me if he was Jewish. I said no. And then she refused to acknowledge my existence for 4 days. So that's kind of the stuff that I'm talking about, where it was just like, it was crazy times in my house.
Does she acknowledge that?
No. So
she's not aware of it?
Basically what happens now, because that happened for about 5-ish years, it continued to be just like kind of tightrope walking with my mom. And we just kind of moved forward instead of ever acknowledging that it had happened. At some points I will try and bring it up, but she gets very defensive. Totally normal.
You know what I think that is? I think that because I get that with my mom. I will give credit where credit is due. My mom is really good about receiving criticism, like not receiving it, processing it later. Okay. But in the moment, like you have to catch her at the right time and you have to present it in a very gentle way, because a criticism has a tendency to, and I don't think any of us like someone to be like, hey, you know the thing you did that actually really like effed me up in the head. So I'll give her credit where credit is due, but she is very sensitive to that stuff. And I want to make something very clear to anyone watching. Being sensitive is not an insult. I think you are allowed to feel sensitive about certain topics. The problem comes in when it's everything. Yeah. Every little tiny thing, you get defensive. Sensitive becomes an issue when you start to become defensive alongside with it. Mm-hmm. And I think that's something that we run into. Now, in going to the main point of what I was saying, is I think that comes from they think like it's a direct insult to them as a mother and as a caretaker, and everything that they ever did for you is null and void because of that one thing. Yeah. They like put their whole stock in like, well, I'm so sorry that negative thing hurt you, you know, and you're like, no, I'm trying to address it with you. Yeah. I'm not taking away from the good that you're doing. So I think that's where that comes from. Yeah. It's like, they feel like, well, I guess I wasn't good enough. It's like, no, like you can be wrong in this area and it not take away from all the good that you did.
Yeah, and also like our moms, our fathers, our caretakers, whoever, you know, like everyone is just trying their best. So like when I look back at that time, it was terrible. That's the first time I went to therapy. And I did that for a really long time to work through all of that stuff that did happen. I was the only child left in the household. So I have a lot of trauma from that. And my brothers will sometimes just like randomly be like, I'm so sorry that we left you there. Which I'm like, you can't do anything about it. It's totally fine. Like it happened. And I grew up a lot faster because of that time. But I think like you were saying, right, it's not immediately like when I bring it up, it's not like, well, blah, 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 blah. You know, it's like listening, retaining how I felt during that time and addressing it then. Now, I will say, because I was just home over the summer, I was on tour and it was in New York, so I was able to actually live with my mom and her boyfriend, and I lived with him for 6 weeks. It healed a lot of that trauma that I had previously with her.
You texted me. Yeah. You were like, things are actually going really well.
Yeah. So I don't, you know, have we ever addressed the stuff that she has said to me and done? No. And one day I would love to address that stuff. I mean, I think some of the things that she said to me are crazy. I mean, like one thing is in my brain right now. She's never going to watch this, so it really doesn't matter.
Imagine this is the one
she watches. Oh. I mean, this is, once again, this happened to me. It's my story. Yeah. But one time during that time as well, she came into the bathroom. She was in one of her depressive episodes, and she looked at me and she was like, please marry a Jewish boy. And I just like,
was it out of thin air?
Yeah, it was. I was getting ready for high school, and so I had to like leave. And I was like, "Okay, like, what do you want right now? We're gonna do this right now." I'm washing my face. It was wild. So she would like say random things like that, and then I'd like explain that in Judaism, in our religion. Once again, this gets into another topic that I would eventually like to talk about religion. But in our religion, if the mother of the children is Jewish, then those children are Jewish. That's the law of Judaism.
A loophole.
Yeah. So I was like, my kids are gonna be Jewish. And she was like, it's not good enough. I was like, okay, I don't understand, but okay. You know, so it was really hard to deal with her during that time, especially because before that, my mother was the anchor to our family. She was not emotionally there for us. That was when my dad came in and they switched the gender role stereotypes.
Yeah.
But she was always doing everything, bills, driving us to school, cooking dinner, you know, like really doing everything, except being there emotionally for us, which is where my dad really, like I said, took over. So it was just really difficult to see this woman who hadn't really shown these emotions be so emotional and so almost unhinged during that time, especially that first year, 16 to 17. It was rough in that house.
Yeah.
I mean, like they could make a documentary of that time or a Lifetime movie, and like I would be played by, I don't even know who. You can put that name in the comment of the actress that you think would play me, but just like sitting in a dark corner, like rocking herself. Like it got bad. It was not great.
You know what? And I think that's the hard thing about when you go through those experiences is like it shapes the way that you present yourself in the world. And if you like, okay, I'll use me as an example.
Yeah, I was gonna say, get into you.
I have always been very, very close to my mom, and I would say that she was like, I considered her my best friend.
Yeah.
And so I was very attached to my mom in a sense that like I needed to feel safe because of, you know, and at the early ages, the anxiety, the fear, all that. For me, I became extremely codependent on my mom. And because my mom at a very young age had to become an adult due to her personal circumstances growing up, she clung on to that because she craved that and she got that with me. So at the time, she didn't really see that it was kind of detrimental that I was so close to her.
Yeah.
And when I tell you it affected, like I would cancel, the minute she'd ask me to do something, I'd cancel plans because I didn't want to deal with her getting upset, and rejection sensitivity, like that was something that was prevalent with her. She's a product of divorce, and as I'm sure you can attest to.
Hello, I am also a product of divorce.
Feeling rejected is something that I think might come up from time to time, and if you don't work through it, you are extremely sensitive to it, and you can't even like rationalize it. Therapy, right.
Thank God for therapy.
So as we got older, I started to realize that I was becoming very resentful, and I didn't want to lose the relationship I had with my mom.
Yeah, too important.
And so I started to detach, and I started to pull back. And like the joke would be like cut the umbilical cord, because she always had this undying like mama bear attitude, and like nobody could mess with us, and like she would defend me and like there's a joke one time I was talking about someone else, and my aunt, her sister, was there. I was talking about someone else, and I was like, oh, I guess I said like she's really pretty, or like she's super talented, or whatever it was. I was talking about another artist, and my mom's like, well, you're pretty and talented. I said, Mom, I know that. You don't have to defend me from me. And my aunt lost it, because it's true. Like my mom, like she will defend me, even me to myself. And I'm like, stop. You don't have to do that. And so I started to pull away, and there was a stretch of time where the two of us were fighting a lot.
Yeah.
And that's because I was trying to establish independence, and she saw my brother was really good about it. He turned 18 and he was like, deuces, I'm going away to college. And he came home for 2 years and then he dipped again. That's it. Like there was no, he didn't linger around.
Yeah.
So I still did. And we kind of created that codependency on each other, and our emotions were very tethered to one another. So we couldn't, it became very volatile in our words. We never got physical with each other, but we would verbally duke it out with each other. And it got better, I would say, as I started to go through therapy. She was the one that was there for me during the very beginning stages of my anxiety disorder. She had to feed me, she had to take care of me, like she was there.
I bet Joanne loved that.
Well, she did.
Yeah.
She did and she didn't.
Oh, okay.
She did in the sense that I needed her. She didn't in the sense that her grown woman daughter, she felt helpless because she didn't know what to do.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, so...
Whereas when I went home, my mom was like, let me feed you dinner and lunch. I made you lunch today. And
you weren't like in like a heightened state of
not
like
at all.
thinking you have to be committed to the psych ward, you know?
She was just thrilled to like take care of her 30-year-old daughter.
Of course.
It was lovely.
So like, but in that, going to therapy and then opening up the discussion with her to say, I think it's important that we start to work through some of these things, and that I start to bring to your attention some of the stuff that I found was very detrimental to me growing up. We have since worked past it. She has grown with me through therapy.
That's great.
We still have our moments, but we're able to vocalize to one another what it is that we need from each other.
Yeah.
And like, especially emotionally, like a lot of that stuff got fixed. And I know that some people aren't as lucky to have those opportunities with their parents. They just cut them off cold turkey.
Yeah.
But I think when you're forced...
And nothing is resolved.
Right. I think when you're forced into a corner, I kind of made the decision that I was going to heal from these things. And if that wasn't going to be accepted, then I was going to walk. And easier said than done.
Of course.
Don't know if it was presented to me that I would have been like, well, that's it. I'm out of here. You're never going to speak to me again. Like, I don't know that I would have, been able to walk the walk.
Yeah.
But I was preparing to, and I was like, I'm at least going to try, because I want to start to heal from this stuff. And there's so much more. Like, coming out as queer was a big deal because she didn't understand it. The change in my appearance, and like even the other day, I'm like, oh, I can't wait to get my tattoos and all that stuff. And she's like, and you could tell that she was really trying not to make a face. She's like, are you happy? I said, yes. She said, I love you, and hugged me because I mentioned something about my hair, and she like made a face and was like, oh, but you're so pretty without, X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, okay, thank you. We're done talking now, because it's like, okay. So what you're saying is that like how I feel, this is how I feel beautiful. I feel beautiful with the tooth gems. I feel beautiful with my hair like this, with blunt bangs, crazy make. I feel beautiful. And the fact that like, it was like, oh, but other people don't think you're beautiful. I didn't like that.
Yeah.
And she texted me, she said, I am so sorry. I am a work in progress. And like, that is huge.
Yeah.
That would have never happened.
Self-acceptance, baby.
And some people don't. They don't have that.
Yeah.
But I think if you are truly a parent and you truly love your child and want the best for them, do you always have to see eye to eye?
No,
absolutely not.
You're two different human beings.
But am I always gonna agree with my mom? No.
But I'm unconditional love aspect, I think, is very important, right? Yeah, I will love you no matter what.
Right, because you had also mentioned too, like, conditions.
It was very, my mother's relationship with us growing up was very conditional. I'll only love you if.
And now it's not. You feel it's not really like that.
I mean, it depends. The best way to deal with my mother is to have a very blunt conversation with her. Tell her, this is what I intend to do, and this is how we're going to do it. She appreciates that, and so that's how I approach anything with her.
My mom's different. I can't be like, this is what we're going to do, because she'll be like, why are you yelling at me? And she'll get very defensive.
I need to.
So it's more.
And my mom's boyfriend needs to be present. He's a calming, presence in her life. So
take my mom out to coffee.
There you go.
It's chat with her a little bit.
Gotta warm her up.
But again, it's different. I think it's how we how we're able to communicate in the different
and also
languages.
how open we are, right?
Right.
To fixing the issue, to each other.
You have to be
and
kind
to
of
moving forward.
willing together.
Yeah.
Well, we are at 20 minutes on
Perfect.
the dot. That was beautiful.
Yeah, this has been something that I've wanted to talk about because I remember when we did our episode so long ago with Misha, right?
Yeah.
From Love Grows. I think it was like episode 9.
I'll link it.
We'll link it. She's a mom and child psychologist. And
fabulous.
It's a fabulous episode. And like, you can hear me wanting to open up about this side of things with my mom, but it was still so new. You know, we hadn't had the podcast that long. I didn't know whether I should or should not.
But
now it's all open. I don't really care. I'll tell you anything. But so it's interesting to see the progression of that. If you go back and you listen, you literally hear me like choke up in the episode because it's something that weighs very heavy on my heart and has for a really long time. It's almost half my life that I've kind of carried this with me. So go and text your mom or your caretaker or loved ones, give them a hug, and just tell them that you appreciate them because they really are
they're trying.
They're doing their best, just like you.
I would like to think most of them are trying. Some don't care, but most of the
them
time
are trying.
They do.
Yeah.
So on that note, you can like, comment, subscribe. You can hit that little notification bell so you get notified every time we upload a new video. And
check out our website, www.cyclechats.com. We have our shirts. You can get a custom shirt with the Educate, Empower, and Inspire design, or you can get the casual Syncing Up with Cycle Chats shirt with our beautiful colors, pink, blue, and purple. I didn't remember what the colors.
You know what?
We've been doing a
lot of talking today.
It's been a long time.
We're going to let y'all go. Check out our other episodes if you haven't. And on that note,
we hope you sync up with us next time.
You guys being so good.